अपनी बात समाप्त करता हूं। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद माननीय सदस्य। माननीय सदस्य श्री अनिल देसाई जी।
Thank you, Chair Madam. Thank you, Chair Madam. The government has introduced the Disaster Management Amendment Bill 2024, and the same is being discussed and deliberated upon in the House. After the enactment of Disaster Management Act 2005, initially, it's now almost 2 decades have passed since we have made any amendment or changes in this act, which is now being considered. Despite the fact that the progress and the growth what we have seen in our economy, but we have also witnessed the weather events, the vagaries of nature, and also the way events have become unpredictable. We came across climate extremes, pandemics, and we all withstood the cascading effects of disasters. And therefore, the provisions under the Disaster Management Act 2005 needed to be amended by way of bringing in much required amendments in the existing robust framework of DM Act 2005. Disaster Management Amendment Bill 2024 emphasizes, basically it's a shift from reactive approach to the from going from reactive framework to we are emphasizing proactive approach. It is advancing from preparedness approach to a risk preventive approach. The proposed amendment bill seeks to enhance India's disaster management framework by establishing urban disaster management authorities, that is UDMA. It aims to empower national and state disaster management authorities, NDMA and SDMAs. It aims to create comprehensive disaster database, which is also part of the bill. The bill aims to focus on disaster risk reduction also. Its objective is to improve coordination among various authorities and strengthen urban disaster management. The bill permits state government to establish their own state disaster resource, SDRF. Madam, existing bodies such as National Crisis Management Committee, NCMC and High Level Committee will get statutory status, which will formalize their roles in managing national level disaster and overseeing financial assistance during emergencies. While this piece of legislation which is being discussed, there are few questions or explanations which I feel that Honorable Minister, while replying to the House, will put some shade on this. My first question or the query is, the bill grants substantial rulemaking and regulating powers to the central government, that is NDMA. NDMA is being strengthened. This will infringe on the state government's rights and lead to bureaucratic overlap that might affect the effective disaster management. My second query is, financial and administrative capacity of local authorities, especially in smaller cities, to manage the responsibilities under UDMAs, resources and expertise needs required for the authorities to function effectively. Madam Chair, today leaving Mumbai Corporation, which is the biggest corporation in India, not only in India but in Asia, which has the capacity, which has the resources, but that too, it gets engaged because of the state governments plowing its resources to other things than the autonomous corporation that Mumbai. But believing that not only most of the, but all the corporations and local bodies in the state, which are literally depending on the resources being provided by the state governments, where from they will get the resources, where from they will bring in the financial assistance or the financial strength they need to fight with the emergencies, that needs to be made clear by the Honorable Minister. Thirdly, multiplicity of authorities, creation of new bodies like UDMAs along with formalization of existing committees will create mix-ups in decision making decision-making process, ultimately defeating the purpose of emergencies, fighting of emergencies. This may result in the action during the emergencies. Fourth, the thing is penalties for non-compliance. The bill introduces penalty clause obstructing disaster. One who will obstruct the disaster management efforts will be penalized up to rupees 10,000. There is no clear criteria for which, penalties would come. That needs to be made clear in this, I think, in this bill. And now, Madam, I'll
माननीय सदस्य प्लीज कंप्लीट करिए.
one or 2 points, only 2 points, because my state of Maharashtra has faced extremes of climate change extremes of climate change in the last few years. Cyclones like Nisarg or Tokte devastated the entire coastal belt lives in Konkan region in the year 21-22. The state government then did its best, but much needed relief which was expected to come from the central government didn't come on time, and that is the reason why coastal belt people suffered a lot. Similarly, grave damages done by the unseasonal rains and even flash floods that has caused tremendous sufferings to the farming fraternity, and at that point of time also NDRF relief was much expected, but it didn't come on time. So state had to weigh all the responsibilities on its shoulder, which was not sufficient to cope with the casualties or cope with the losses and damages which had happened. My next this thing is landslides which are taking place in the western Ghat of Maharashtra, which has seen that villages and lot of families losing their lives and the loss of property which took place. And exactly there, in time, whatever was needed to be done couldn't be done because central government, the teams which were supposed to visit them and provide relief at that point of time, we didn't come in time. And these are the things which really made people suffer. That should not happen. I think in the Disaster Management Act 2024, by way of amendments, the Honorable Minister would put some light on this, because basic thing is that only last point I'm making, that if state of Maharashtra, which is number one state in the entire country, if that suffers on these counts, we need to see that how we prevent. The prevention is to be seen, then mitigation and the relief which should come at a time. Now the relief is been made prominent and compensation word is being taken off. Now what is the difference between the compensation and relief? That also need to be elucidated by the Honorable Minister while replying. I think if these things are put in place, then Disaster Management Act Amendment Bill 2024 have its really meaning. It will be meaningful for the people of India.
धन्यवाद माननीय सदस्य. प्लीज माननीय सदस्य श्री नरेश